Hello guys, it has well been over a year since I have uploaded anything in this channel. Honestly, don't expect me to upload anything else in the nearby future, since I have been busy with personal things and work. Well, speaking of work, I'd like to discuss a certain co-worker who has caused enough problems in my workplace. I'm going to explain at least 3 points why, but firstly, for the sake of privacy, I will not state any real names, the workplace, or recreate anything compared to what happened in real life. It will be fictional. Let's refer to this person called E. Sounds right. Anyways, E joined my workplace sometime between late September or early October. He seemed like a decent co-worker and is fairly new to this country. However, another good co-worker of mine told me in regards of concerns from E, he had a previous job before, but soon got sacked for that reason, which will be unveiled for the third and final point. At first, I didn't believe or didn't argue about it. I just listened and was like, okay, until months later, after seeing that video. My whole perspective of E had significantly changed. I genuinely thought boundaries were respected from E, but I was wrong. Before I go straight to the point, here's the context. A few co-workers in my workplace, including me, have a driving license, meaning we could drive anywhere anytime. During night shifts, it's a great advantage, as there are lack of cars to be dealt with, instead of walking in the dead of night. However, this isn't the case for E, because he needs to rely on someone like me to take him home. It was obviously fun and great gesture at first, until patterns from his behavior became clearer over time. To the point, I politely told him that I can't offer lifts because of boundaries, meaning I must go home immediately, no ifs, no buts. And he understood, while in truth, it was to protect myself from him. Although unfortunately, this isn't the same case as for another co-worker called L, who is also quite new and a regular worker during night shifts too. He had offered him lifts before, but it abruptly ended, as me and him had a chat. He explained why he stopped, and it was due to the last time he asked him for lifts. He said it was a no, but him refused and replied back, "You have to," which came against his boundaries, as if the word no was meaningless. Sadly, he didn't go into further detail about how he felt about this, but it's either that he felt uncomfortable or genuinely annoyed. Unfortunately, there was recently another instance from him doing the similar thing to another co-worker, but I'll have to save it for now. Despite being a good gesture, this is where the reality sets in. A lift is a favor, not a right. If someone has no alternative way home, that isn't something others are obligated to solve. That was the first clear pattern, not hostility, but entitlement. Let's be fair here. Starting out as a beginner in a workplace is the worst experience. Well, at least temporarily. Sometimes you can unintentionally fuck things up without realizing. I was the case sometimes. There is no expectation for E, as for many beginners. He struggled until he knew what to do. However, after a handful of observations during closing shifts, he does not follow what managers asked and finds a way to make up excuses. A few instances where he typically gets assigned in pot wash, basically cleaning every kitchen equipment before me or other colleagues return it back to their designated spot. This manager, let's call him C, he reminded him to clean up something while the dishwasher was active, such as cleaning the sink or something else within his designated area, but instead, he does nothing, absolutely nothing, since it is an ongoing problem up to this point. He is actually fed up with E, so he goes mildly cold at him, and sometimes it can go into a serious lecture. C was like,
"Why didn't you do that? That's wasting time. See, when you're waiting, do something. I don't want to see you do nothing."
And he comes up with an excuse, such
as "I need to wait for the dishwasher,"
or something along the lines. Another instance, this time with an hour, observing from afar, although I didn't hear exactly what they were saying. However, the body language from the HR was a dead giveaway that he wasn't following guidance, thanks to a colleague. It turns out he hasn't cleared up the excess flour on the surface of the battering station before his break. For those who don't know what it means, leaving excess flour on the surface is a huge hazard, as it can cause cross-contamination via harboring bacteria, attracting unwanted pests, and it reduces the quality of the food product, making it inedible. Cleaning it after each batch can reduce the hazard and help maintain its quality. Moving to the insights from C, he states that
if the HR has seen enough with him constantly ignoring guidance, formal consequences would be likely met.
Whilst this is infuriating enough, it doesn't stop here. Whenever he does something that he knows, he either follows or asks any nearby colleagues if they could quote-unquote help him. While helping others is also a good gesture, asking someone for help while you literally know what to do is downright pointless. It wastes everyone's time, especially when they have other tasks to focus on. What kind of benefit could you get from this? By being a lazy cunt? One time, when he pulled the same shit on me, I immediately said, I have other stuff to do, and carried on. Basically, I clearly wanted to do my tasks without anyone bothering me until we were all done for the night. Okay, the final point. If it's not obvious enough, as the title suggests, it just crosses the line, and I have to warn you. It's deeply concerning. Remember when I stated he had a previous job before, then got sacked? Well, this what basically happened. So, one time he attempted to engage in an inappropriate conversation with a 17-year-old girl, a minor. What made it worse that he was in fact in his early 20s. Luckily for proof, as I mentioned before about that video, she was recording the whole incident. Again, I cannot show you the video, but I can replicate the dialogue.
We can
have sexy talk today.
sexy talk today. Sexy talk today. With who?
Me.
Both of us?
Yeah.
Eventually it was reported to the management, and there were even multiple incidents of him committing the same thing to other female workers too. Unfortunately, I don't have any insights from them and we'll have to leave it for now. What's even worse? In my workplace, he has also done it to another 17-year-old named Kay. She has recently left our workplace for personal reasons. However, it's still relevant to bring this statement up too. When she was speaking to me, she mentioned that she holds numerous complaints against him. Or in other words, the way he was treating her. One time he overheard her saying something about a party she was going to. He chimed in and said,
Can I come?
Seriously, to a party with mostly to other people you don't even know while you're in your 20s. How daft are you? I can fairly argue that he is lonely and doesn't have any good connections ever since he got into our workplace. Perhaps he was trying to be interactive or make friends with other people even outside of work. There are simply many safer ways to do so that does not involve being a nonce. Anyways, Kay did the sensible thing by reporting it to the management. However, the outcome was different compared to his previous workplace. The manager she reported to stated, "You can't be spreading it to other people." Which kinda makes little sense. I do get where he's coming from, but do you not realize how concerning this is? She had proof and was visibly uncomfortable. Unfortunately, our main manager couldn't do anything about it either, despite that she also recorded it for proof. This was clearly frustrating to say the least. Without venting it further, there is a potential speculation why they didn't get a hold of this report, and it has to do with policies involving formal investigations in certain workplaces. Or there wasn't enough documentations to cover from the same individual, likely due to the fact it was only reported by one person. Unlike the previous workplace, there were definitely multiple documentations from a handful of people that were affected by his behavior. However, there is hope as the HR might be investigating, as one time I overheard him saying his name like the situation, implying that he might be investigating his behavior, as well as performance, which is evidently dogshit. For privacy reasons, when it comes to investigating with an employee, it has to be done quietly without disruption. In conclusion, he consistently struggles with boundaries, following instructions and contribute with the team. His behavior has caused enough stress and discomfort towards staff, indicating that he is not worthy of keeping. I wouldn't see him working any further, nor improve his behavior in the nearby future.